I'm Will Hardy, husband, father, entrepreneur, hotelier, and filmmaker, and a man in the middle of his story. I've had wins, I've had breakdowns, I've had moments where I felt unstoppable, and moments where I didn't know if I could take one more step. And I know I'm not the only one. This podcast is a place where we tell the truth, where leaders, dreamers, husbands, wives, entrepreneurs can come clean about the real journey. Because together, we heal faster. Together, we get clearer. Together, we rise. This is an invitation to walk with me, not after it's perfect, but while it's still being written. Welcome to EnterUp.
All right, welcome back to the EnterUp Podcast. My name is Will, and I'm your host. Today, I am honored to introduce April Reed. April is a serial entrepreneur in the health IT executive based in Jacksonville, Florida, and the founder and CEO of EHR Concepts, a nationally recognized healthcare IT consulting and education firm that she started in 2008, grew it from a two-person startup into an Inc. 5,000 recognized company. She's also the creator of Learnista, a modern learning platform, and the host of the Missing Piece podcast, where she sits down with visionary leaders and changemakers. April's leadership has earned multiple Stevie Awards for women's business, national features in Wall Street Journal, as well as Inc. magazine, and the Barack Obama Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award for her service and impact. Beyond her impressive career, April is an amazing mother of 5 beautiful children and an incredibly happy wife. Without further ado, gosh, I am so happy to have you on this podcast. April Reed, welcome to the EnterUp Podcast.
Thank you, Will Hardy. Happy to be here.
I mean, get you some,
Happy to be
girl.
here. Listen, you can do my intro all the time. I'll just let you.
Listen, I'm just telling you, I mean, get you some, girl. I mean, this is, we go way back, right? I mean, we've known each other for over 20 years, and Alicia and myself have become dear friends with you, and man, we've been in the trenches together in a lot of phases
Yeah.
of our life, right? Through childbearing and you helping us raise children, and speaking life over one another through marriage and relationships and children, and man, we've had dreams for a long time, April. And you have been there for me. You've seen a lot of the dreams come to pass that we believed, for me specifically and Alicia. And we have had the great privilege of sitting back and watching you. And babe, I'm like beyond just so happy for you and what you've accomplished. So I want to dive right into that. First off, tell the listeners what's going on with your life right now, and if I miss any other accolades, please chime in. I mean,
No, I don't need
we could have
accolades.
sat on that for several minutes, but talk to us.
Oh, I actually somebody posted I don't know, one of the Hollywood stars, I don't know them that well. They just passed away, and they said, you've been in all these roles. What do you want to be known for? And she's
Mm,
like, or what role do you want to be most known for? And she's like, mother to my children. And
mm,
I was like, done. I'm taking that role. Like you said, it's all these accolades, all these whatever. But I'm like, I want to be known for to be a really good wife and a mother to my children.
mm.
Um, yeah, so it's been fun, 20 years. And like you said, we'll probably talk a lot about that. And when you and Alicia had before, I was trying to get pregnant and just believing God to bless us with children. And after IVF, ended up not only having one, but two. So here I am, 5. Live in Jacksonville, Florida. Absolutely love Florida. I don't know why everybody doesn't live in Florida, to be honest, because I love it so much.
Well, after
Um,
12 inches of snow this last week and sleet, I wish I also lived in Florida. So
yeah,
I feel you there, girl.
I know. I'm like, oh, I mean, it's not, of course, there's winters, and then all of a sudden there's spring and you're happy and it's beautiful again. But yeah, busy running EHR Concepts. I mean, you have known me since I started the company.
Yeah.
And here we are 17 years later. Yeah, we help
Mm,
hospitals and clinics and practices around the country with their health IT. And then became, when you see a need in the industry, and really for any industry,
yeah.
I founded a software, which is Learnista, as you mentioned. So that's a learning management system that people, helps any company, not just healthcare, get out of the classroom because, you go to the classroom and then you forget as soon as you walk out the door, let's be
Sure.
honest.
Absolutely.
Or you learn on Zoom and then you're like, oh, I didn't even get to do it. And then I have to go do my job. So I'm really just passionate about training organizations. But yeah, the kids are 4 to 13.
Amazing.
And
Amazing.
we are in the thick of it. It's all the activities, all the things.
Listen,
It's fun.
it's so cool to hear this, and of course, it just brings me back to so many fun moments that we had with you in friendship. And one of those stories, not to over spiritualize this, but I'll never forget the day that you were trying so hard to get pregnant, and we were believing with you and standing with you, and then sure enough, we were in church because that's kind of how we originally connected together through a ministry platform, and I believe it was William that went over to you and this was like in the middle of the service. He put his hand on your belly, and he looked over and told Alicia. He said, "It's not one, it's two." And that's when we found out you were having twins, and
Yeah.
it was like, "Are you kidding me?" And that really happened. So
Yeah. You're
it's
going to make me cry. You can't already make me cry. We just started talking.
Well, listen, we'll both cry. It's God's good, right? And the
Yes.
faithfulness of what He brings is so special, and that was
Yeah.
just a dear memory that just kind of just popped up right there as we were talking.
Yeah.
But can I go back to a story that I believe I remember, and correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong, but you were working as a server at a restaurant.
Yeah.
I want to say Red
Mhm.
Lobster. Was it Red Lobster?
Carrabba's.
Carrabba's. Okay,
Carrabba's.
Carrabba's.
Yes. Good
And
memory.
I remember there was a season where, like all of us, and you've always had this kind of serial entrepreneur personality about you. It was always so inspiring to see you as a woman in the industry, not just dream but believe, and then also have strategic action to go after what you wanted to achieve. And if I remember correctly, and of course, everybody that can watch you sees your bubbly personality, and you always show up so well, so pleasant, so peaceful, so sweet, and attentive, right? You were in a moment where you were serving a customer, and basically they were in the IT space or the healthcare space, from what I remember, and they were
Yeah.
so impressed by you just being there as a server,
Mhm.
the excellence that you brought to the table, that maybe they mentioned to you about, hey, what are your goals? What are your aspirations? And what do you see your
Yeah.
future to be? Do I remember that correctly? And did something come from that conversation?
Yeah, you remember a lot of it.
Oh, no,
Yes,
I
well,
remember that.
that
That's
that was
great.
crazy. So that was in 2004.
Okay.
So like 22 years ago. So yeah, I cannot believe that you remember this. And actually, it's one of my favorite stories, Will, because I'm going to go back even the day before, or it was actually 2 weeks before that happened. I was working at Carrabba's and I didn't love it. I showed up, I did my job. You get tipped, you don't get tipped. They actually were having me manage, some of the staff and put me in a leadership role. And I remember not loving it. I mean, how many times have we gone to work and we don't love our job, whatever?
Hmm.
But that was me. I was young. I didn't love it. I go to church and the pastor, it wasn't even a church that I was regularly attending. And I go to church and the pastor was like, how about we walk in gratitude and be thankful, especially the fact that it's tomorrow on Monday morning and you go to work. Show up and be thankful. Thank Jesus for your boss and for the people you get to serve and what you do. And in my mind, I was like, because it really hit me. And
Yeah.
so I will be honest, I very sarcastically heard him. And under my breath, I would be like, thank you, God, for my boss and for my literally, and I would say thank you, but like
Yeah.
not even like with a legit grateful heart.
Yeah.
And I did it every day. And
Mm.
within 2 weeks, you're exactly right. Somebody came in and they said, "What do you want to do with your life?" And my former roommate was pharmaceutical sales rep, and it looked glamorous, and she made really good money. So I was like, I don't know, maybe pharmaceutical sales because I wanted to look smart and intelligent.
Sure.
And he said, "What about training doctors on an electronic health record all over the world?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." I
Mm.
had no idea what he was talking about,
Sure.
like absolutely none. And anyways, from there, he opened the door for me. I call it a sliding door moment. I think we
Mm.
have many sliding door moments in our life, and
Yeah.
And whether we choose to walk through them or not is where the
Mm.
magic happens. And to me, that was a sliding door moment. And the next thing you know, I'm on a plane to Washington, D.C., sitting in a room. I'll take this story even further because there's so much that changed my life,
Sure.
from that
Share it.
moment. I'm sitting in that classroom in Washington, D.C., not having a clue what I'm about to do. Like,
Mhm.
yes, I'm going to train electronic health records. Like, I didn't even know what that was,
Mhm.
and we didn't have ChatGPT to teach me. I mean, we maybe had Google a little bit, but I'm like, okay.
You're
So
showing our
I go
age,
to this.
April. You're showing our age.
I know. So I go to the class and I sit down in the back row. Thank goodness I sat in the back row. I sit in the back row, and there was, I don't know, maybe 20 other people in the classroom with me. Well,
Mhm.
we kick off by saying, let's introduce ourselves and go around the table. First one, oh, I was a doctor with the military for the last 22 years, retired, just looking for something different. Oh, I was a Air Force nurse, retiring. Everybody clinical. They were medical, either doctors, nurses, or military.
Yep.
And then little old me. And I'm like, what do I say? What do I say? I'm like panicking. And it comes to the last row. And I just like quickly introduced myself, sat down. And I remember thinking it was that first imposter syndrome that I had ever
Mm.
had,
Mm.
big time. Why am I in this room? I'm not qualified. They picked the wrong person. I'm not military. I'm not medical. And I have absolutely no idea what you guys are talking about.
Mm.
And they began to teach us what an electronic health record was. But even using medical terminology, I mean, like they're like, all right, so you'll put your, uh, O2, here, and then you'll order, CBC here, and then we'll diagnose, this patient with whatever diabetes, order some metformin, give it PRN. Like, what are you talking about? And so that insecurity and that imposter syndrome was for real. And I literally thought about quitting because
Wow.
I felt like I didn't deserve to be there. Like, it
Yeah.
was so nice, that sliding door moment. I took it, but then I'm in this room. I'm not supposed to be there. That is how I felt,
Mm.
And so, and I also wasn't an A student. Well, I wasn't like, so I wasn't the smartest in the room. And so I also had that, like, you're not even smart enough to be here. Like, not only are you not supposed to be here, you're not even smart enough to be here. So
Mm.
just exit stage right and be like, thanks for having me. I'm out.
Love it.
And literally quite the opposite happened. I would go home, I would study anything that I wrote down on my notes that I had no idea what it meant. I would look it up, I would figure it out. And then I found some people that were kind, and I'm like, can you teach me? Because I'm nervous and I don't understand. And then I just, from there on, I realized I was smart enough to learn, I was capable enough to learn,
Mm.
and kind of the rest is history. And so, like, all of that, it's funny that you brought me back to all of those days because massive turning points in my
Mhm.
life was that situation, big
Yeah.
time.
But that imposter syndrome, that's a real thing, April. And we've
Oh,
had
yeah.
conversations offline about this. And it brings me back to the reason that I kind of wanted to create this podcast, Interrupt, based on the word interruption, because people have a
Mhm.
tendency to see the Instagrammable version of our life, right? They see, oh God, everything he touches turns to gold, and oh, if I could just be an April, but they don't really realize the inner demons, right, that we struggle with, and the
Mhm.
thoughts that we have. And we're speaking to a lot of entrepreneurs on this show, right? And people like you to bring encouragement and hope, not to give up, not to quit, but that. How did you sit with that in that season? I mean, obviously, there's a tremendous amount of self preservation that rises up, I'm sure. You've got tremendous insecurities, right? Everything inside of you is going, run, run before they know you're a fraud. You're not capable
Yeah.
of doing this, right? And I've been there. I've
Yeah.
been there myself many times. What was the turning point for you that got you
Yeah.
over that hump to make you stay focused and actually go, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a stake in the ground and do this.
Yeah. I think, um, one, I would say, what did I believe about myself, and what did what did God's voice have to say about me? Because I wanted
Mm.
to say I wasn't smart enough. April did.
Yeah.
But is that true?
Mm.
No, it's not. And so, we have a talk track in our head, and the question is that talk track right and accurate?
Yeah.
And most of the time, if we were to truly listen to who God says we are, it's we eject, hit eject the talk tape that April wants to give herself. So
Hmm.
when I began to confess, I am smart, I can do this, but I was also willing to put in the hard work.
Mm.
I was traveling all over the world. I mean, so from Japan to Germany to Netherlands to Italy to all over the country. I showed up, I gave 100%, and then I genuinely wanted to help these physicians and these end users. Like, they went from seeing a patient on paper where they could just write everything super fast
Hmm.
to then have to stop and click and type everything, and I saw the pain of what it was causing them.
Wow.
And so I think, one, getting like believing in myself, getting a mentor to help teach me, and then I just had the care to want to make a difference and an impact.
Mm.
And but, like, it just began to compound, and the favor of God just opened doors. Um, they were looking for leads, and they made me some of the leads on these projects, and I'm now someone's manager to people that are, like, double my age, which
Mm.
was, again, more insecurity, but at the same time, I think if we believe in ourselves and we love people well and we do a good job, the rest takes care of itself.
Mm.
I got asked to train President Bush's staff, so they sent me to Bethesda, and I was the one in that VIP wing, getting them ramped up. And I don't think it was because it's April to puff up her chest. It was just, again, like, it's that, to me, it's that recipe. It's like,
Mm.
what do I believe in myself? Do I really want to help others? And who does God say I am? And then, am I capable? Did I work hard enough to do a good job? Does that make sense? Like,
Of course.
and definitely it was, starting with the, like, believing in myself for
Hmm.
sure.
First
Because,
step.
and I hit eject. Yeah, I hit eject on I'm not smart enough. I'm
Yep.
like, actually, I am. Just like measuring all the things in our life. It's like, what does success look like? What does it not look like? And I'm like, we have it all wrong. We have
Yeah.
it all wrong. It should be, who does God say I am, and who am I on this side of heaven?
Mm.
So that's, I don't know. Yeah, it
It's so
started young, but
encouraging. It's
I
so encouraging, and you're so intuitive. I mean, I think that's the thing, right? Is that you have this ability, we have this ability, with our own kind of personal manifestations, right? The things that we speak over us, the things that we believe about us. A
Yep.
lot of people call it fake it till you make it, but there was a lot of my season of my life that I felt like I was faking it till I made it, and it wasn't to be
Yeah.
unauthentic. It was to, like you
Yeah.
said, rewrite the tape. Right, the tape that was
Yes.
playing that said you're not smart enough, you're not capable enough. Hey, Will, you're too ADD. Hey, Will, you didn't have. I'm just like you. I was the ADD boy sitting at the back of the class, barely paying attention, and the only thing I had going for me is I could at least have good conversations with a teacher afterwards to convince them, hey, I'm really trying here. Just
Right.
throw me a bone, kind of thing. And so,
Mhm.
when you see that, and you saw, I love what you said. You saw a need in the industry. You saw a gap, right?
Yeah.
Which I
Yeah.
believe is a reason that I've found a lot of success that I have, is that I've kind of been able to foresee, um, some opportunities and some ideas and some things that I'm like, man, this would simplify this if we did this, or we could go this
Right.
way. And there's a whole world out there that needs assistance and help. Tell me when you had that, because you're working, you're learning, you're building your own self confidence in this space, and then you have
Yeah.
this idea that goes, you know what, we can take this online. It doesn't have to be the old
Yeah.
file system anymore. There's a better way to do this. And again, I'm assuming you don't have any experience in IT. So what was that piece like for you?
That's a good question. Correct. I mean, exactly. I didn't have a IT background. I didn't have any of that, a clinical background. Um, so for me, to your point, I think as entrepreneurs or leaders, key leaders, people that are able to move the needle,
Hmm.
it's how do I make this better?
Yeah.
I mean, when you see how do I make it better, then the world's your oyster. And
Mm.
so, like, for me, corporate America, so when we were going from paper to an electronic health record, like I said, paper, they would take a charge form, a physician, a neurosurgeon who's like literally doing brain surgery. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that, like saving lives. You now have to be like, you have to sit down and write your notes on a computer and click all here. When even on his charge forms, he would go circle, 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 sign.
Hmm.
And now you expect him to stop for 15 minutes, So it was a problem. There was a massive problem. And
Yeah.
so I would go and I would just audit and watch what is happening inside of a clinic. And then I knew they had to use the EHR, but what could I do to make it better for them?
Mm.
So I would take like a charge form, for example, and I would build out their order sets. So it was like right in front of them. They didn't have to go and search. They didn't have to go and look up. They didn't have to click 25 times. I would just customize it for that that specialty group or whatever. And so I guess when you create a better mousetrap, if you will. Like one of our shticks, in the healthcare IT space is how do I reduce clicks?
Hmm.
And it's don't corporate America was like, this is how you need to use our system that we gave you. Like, you're welcome.
Right.
And they're like, here's 25 clicks to order a medication. Well, little
Mhm.
old April would come in and I'd be like, can I show you how to do that in 3? And corporate would be so mad at me because
Oh
they would be
yeah,
like, this isn't our industry standard way. And we want them to see, use our system like this. And I was like, yeah, well, they're trying to see patients, and this is way more
that's right.
efficient.
That's right. You
And
you were
so,
you were simplifying the issue and the problem.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And so then I was like, you know what? I figured it out. I knew I could hire friends and family to figure it out. And
Mm.
so I hired my first hire, Will. You probably don't know this, but she was my college roommate who is out in California pursuing an acting career. So she's a great actress. She's beautiful. She's
Yeah.
smart. And I was like, Abby, can you just fake it till you make it? I'm going to send you onto site and I will teach you everything that you need to know, but show up with a smile on your face and help the end users. And guess what? I mean, that worked. And I did it one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. And I ended up building this huge business. And there's probably been over 1,000 people that have come through our doors
Wow.
because if you can, because anybody can learn anything,
Yeah.
but can you show up to make who you're supporting and what you're doing better? And I think you can. And if you show up with that attitude, then I think, I mean, here I am 17 years later, and I think that that's one of our secret sauces is we care.
Incredible.
We really do care.
Absolutely. Well, and that's what I hear is that when you got that download of kind of a better solution, it really came back to, what would benefit the doctors, right? What would benefit the
Yeah.
staff? How could they minimize their time to go into this easier procedure that would be more effective? But not only did that take faith for you to kind of, step out of that, especially when you had the corporate system kind of pushing against you, right? Of your talents and your
Yeah.
thoughts, but I'm sure you had to invest a lot of your own personal capital, right? Not only just your
Yeah.
individual
Yeah.
time, but your personal capital. Could you speak to that for a second?
Yeah, yeah. So I am. I'm definitely bootstrapped and self-funded.
Awesome.
And always, and still am, which is pretty crazy. Sometimes I laugh. It's like especially when payroll's tight because our ARs are, haven't come. And then I'm like, oh, how's the Bank of April doing? Because we need to
Yep.
make like this huge payroll. I'm like, that struggle is real.
Yep.
Um, so in the beginning, how I like got the faith and the courage, because it was courage and bravery to take
Hmm.
the leap of faith, is I was still going on site as a consultant. Like I would go and I would support the hospitals, and that was a secure paycheck.
Hmm.
If I'm there, I know I'm getting paid. You know
Yep.
what I mean? So that security blanket feels awesome
That's right.
versus I'm going to hire Will and send Will, and now I have to pay Will and I have to wait for the money. And what if they don't pay? And you go through all these risks.
Yep.
Um, but I eventually just kind of filled the coffers to the place where I was like, okay, I need to get off the road. I need to not work,
Hmm.
or I need to run a business. Like I can either work for myself or I can actually try to build a business. So I
Yep.
began building the business, and I think in the first month we had like 5 people on the road, immediately. And so that was a great start. And in year 1, I remember having a Christmas party in my living room, year 1, and looking around being like, "What happened?" And I think maybe 12, I had 12 people working for me,
Yeah,
but we had already done like $1 million. And I'm like, "Okay, okay, we could do this." It didn't mean that we had arrived or made it, but I remember thinking like, but I had to learn how
sure.
to be the Bank of April, which has been trying at times. And you have to risk everything at the same time. You have to I sometimes have to, pull down my 401k and be like, "Well, I gotta make payroll this month." So, yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, you learn it along the way, but it is
Sure.
not for the faint of heart. I tell everybody, I'm like, if you wanna, go into entrepreneurship, just it's not for the faint of heart. It is fun ride and it is awesome, but it
Man,
is not easy.
I tell you, April, you're so right. And you think about, like, I'm trying to picture myself because I've lived that life to a lot of degrees, right? Like, where I know the feelings, but most people don't get that. They see the life of an entrepreneur, right? And they see the benefits or they see the wins and they go, man, what I wouldn't do to that. But
Yes.
the level of stress that we have to carry as these
Mhm.
serial entrepreneurs, I like to call them. And sometimes it's just in you. It's in you. We're just
Yes.
crazy enough to go, hey, we're gonna get it. We're gonna step out of the boat. We're gonna do it. But you think
Yeah.
about that season of your life where, because there were a lot of times where I had other dreams, right? And we're always dreaming, but I had many
Yeah.
dreams that I'm like, well, I've got to do this job to support that dream for the next 2 or 3 years, right? And a lot of people
Exactly.
think that you just
Yes.
go, oh, well, I'm going to start this company and I'm just going to kind of dream for that. And it's like, no, I had 3 jobs sometimes, right? Trying to pay
Exactly.
for the one dream that I was trying to get, off the ground. And
Yes.
what you just said was so important because you had to come to a crossroads where you said, do I believe in myself enough? Do I believe the value of my time enough to where I'm willing to step out of that position where it's a guaranteed paycheck, like you talked about,
Mhm.
and actually run this company properly? That had to be a huge decision for you, right? And a scary one at
Yeah.
that. What was the
Mhm.
final crossover for you? What gave you the faith, the ability to go, I'm all in. I'm doing this.
Yeah, to be honest, I was gonna say my mom, but I'll first give God credit because there was, many points in my life. Let's just talk about finance for a second, because 'cause I'm big on this. Because I think, I believe that there's either fear or faith. There's nothing in between. You cannot walk in both. You're either
Amen.
walking in fear or you're walking in faith.
That's
The
right.
end.
Yep.
Like, that's it. And it's even scientifically proven when you actually study the brain, even believer or non-believer, faith is like the hope. You know what I mean? Like whether it's a faith, Christian, whatever, belief, and then fear is the paralysis side of it. So I grew up with not much, but there was always food on the table.
Mhm.
But it was always the envelope, thing where you take your envelopes and you put them in money, and that's what it's for.
Yep.
And that you have your tithe envelope and you have your birthday envelope and you have your Christmas envelope. And I watched my mom do it, and so a lot of it was no because it's not in the budget. The
Yeah.
envelope is the not in the budget. So I definitely had a fear of money. I mean, I could do a whole hour on this,
Yep.
but I say all that to say that we were friends when this happened. I don't know if you remember, but I was the sole breadwinner in my family, and I was out of work, and this was even before I started my company.
Mm.
I was out of work, and the we were living on credit cards, work like I wasn't getting opportunities, like consulting opportunities, and I call it the feast or the famine. It's like either the work was I mean any entrepreneur,
Mhm.
sometimes work is rolling and you're like, "Woohoo, this is awesome." And
Yep.
then sometimes it is not rolling and it
That's
is
right.
famine land.
Yep.
So, I hadn't broke free from my fear of money and the grip that it had on me from a financial perspective. I didn't know how to tap in to that supernatural space of faith when it came to finances.
Mm.
And I remember I was sitting at church and maybe a couple $100 left in the bank, and I didn't see any light of work coming in. And I remember the Lord basically saying, "Give the last of it
Mm. Yep.
so that you can trust me." And it wasn't give the last of it, I'm going to bless you. It wasn't God's a genie. It was, you don't trust me.
Mm.
And I didn't.
Yep.
And because I didn't, I thought I was in control. Like I thought that if I worked really hard, I can make whatever, whatever.
Sure.
And I gave pretty much, I think, the couple $100 that I had in the bank.
Yep.
And I remember sitting there just crying. And it was twofold. One, I was sad because I was so stressed over the situation.
Sure.
But then also there was this joy of letting go, that where, I am a believer, you're a believer, and I just believe the word of God. And it says, I will give you abundantly more than you can ever ask, dream, or imagine.
Mm.
And if the Bible says, I plan to give you abundantly more than you ever ask, dream, or imagine, if I'm not believing that and walking in full faith of that, then then the only other option is fear. You know what I mean? Like then I'm choosing to lean into like, no, you're not. I don't believe that. Abundance is for some, not me. Whatever it is, this again, the talk track, hit eject. And the next day, gratitude. I'm big on be joyful, always pray, continually give thanks in every circumstances. For this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. Like, so thankfulness changed my life. Now, letting go of the fear of finance or money changed my life, because the next day I get a random call from a hospital in Massachusetts who is looking for a consultant. And her name was Sandy, and to this day we're good friends. And she said, April, I'll never forget my interview with you. You basically told me, I'm going to be the best consultant you have ever had, and you need me and you want me, and I promise I won't let you down. Basically, she was like, either this girl is full of or she's the real deal.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess I'll trust her. So she goes, so I hired you, and here you are. But I was like, at that point I was so confident in my abilities, that I was like, no, you need me. Plus I was desperate. I was like, no, you need me. And that was UMass Memorial out of Worcester. They became not only one of my first clients, but I did $16 million with that one client.
Come on.
Right? So it's like,
that's not a bad investment from a $200 seed in the ground, right?
Amen. But ever since then, there has been this walk of faith. So even going back to starting the firm, I have a money tree in my backyard. People are like, there's not money tree in your backyard. I'm like, you're wrong, because there is in mine. So, sorry you believe that. Like, I mean, literally, I'm like, well, there is in mine. I've had failed businesses. Well, I mean, I've lost, probably you as well. I've lost millions of dollars at failed businesses. And I'm like, well, good thing I have a money tree. No, I'm just kidding. You don't just go and throw money down the ground. But at the same time, like, I'm not going to cry over the spilt milk or the things of the doors closing, even though that fear comes knocking, let's say every day.
Absolutely.
Every day. I'm like, no thanks, eject.
Yeah,
bye.
It's so good, and believer or not believer, we all deal with that inner voice, those things that happen. And I mean, I got goosebumps when you shared that story, because it took me back to a story. This is not about me, but I want to share that. It very similar. Alicia and I were in ministry together, believing for the next steps of our life, and I was working selling advertisement for a coupon magazine. I mean, that's what I did, 7 days a week. And I showed up at church one day because the guy that had hired me would bring my check to me, for the week. And of course, I had all these bills in my head of what had to be paid and what was coming, and the same stress you carried, right, as being the sole provider of your family at the time. And I'll never forget this. He handed the check to me, and we were sitting there, and I kind of looked at the check, and I just knew it that as soon as I saw the check, my stomach just dropped, because it wasn't the amount that I thought it was going to be. Right. And I have all these things in my head about what's coming, the bills that are up next. And I'll never forget this. They were passing the offering plate, and I've got tears streaming down my face. And it was that same moment. Do you trust me? And I turned over the back of the check and I signed it, and I put it in the offering plate. And my wife gave me that look like, what are you doing? And is everything okay? And I just couldn't even gather myself. Right. I was so moved by what I felt that I didn't want to be held back by anymore, and that was fear.
Right.
Right, that was a lack, and within 24 hours, I get a phone call of a modeling gig that paid $8,000, right, like just out of
Right.
nowhere that I probably shouldn't have gotten.
Exactly.
And so I love to hear those stories, and I think it's important that people hear those stories, right? And
Mhm.
I really appreciate you sharing the vulnerability side of entrepreneurship as well, because it's not always, we're always shooting for the stars. We're going after the biggest and the best, but there are failures,
Mhm.
right? There are setbacks.
Yeah.
There's things that happen, and part of
Mhm.
this is how do we deal with that kind of messy middle, right? Those moments that hit us.
Mhm.
I love what Mike Tyson said. He said, "Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face," right? It's like,
So
yeah, that's a
good.
plan, and then psh, it's like, oh shit, that's not working, you know. But if you don't mind, I'm so inspired by not only your work ethic, not only your ability to be grateful and your positive affirmation, which has no doubt led you to the success you've had, but you had some dark moments. I mean, there were some seasons in your life that got pretty hairy, pretty dark, pretty lonely, and if you would share that a little bit, whatever you're comfortable with, I'd love for the audience, because I
Yeah.
think that's what this is about, right? It's about the
Yeah.
comeback stories, because we see your success now, but it wasn't always
Yeah.
that, right?
Mhm. And, I think it's life. I think, I think that that's life.
Yeah.
It would be amazing just to have a smooth sailing, no bumps, kind of easy going, happy, lucky life. But
Sure.
there's also these challenges. Yeah, you guys have walked through me with a lot of the dark. So on the personal side, I married somebody when he was in the military, and he went to Afghanistan and did his Humvee got blown up and did lose somebody. And he came back a very different person.
Mm,
Um, and then over time got addicted to substances. So some like oxys and just that slippery slope that
yeah.
is, unfortunately.
Mm,
And it eventually it just got to the point where the best option for me was to find a way out without, getting too far down that path.
mm,
And unfortunately, at that time, so that's one dark, being married to an addict, how to get out of that.
mm,
When I left, I had four babies. They were four, four, three, and one, as you remember.
yeah.
And so, when you have four babies and you're trying to see yourself out of a terrible situation, that alone has those challenges. But even before that is I couldn't get pregnant. You would be like, oh, she has four beautiful babies. Well, I
Mhm,
tried for 4 years. And so that
mhm,
dark season of infertility,
yeah.
which you and Alicia had also been there during that season.
Yeah.
So you have those moments that don't make sense. And, was this, when you grow up and have a family and get married, do you even anticipate the heartache and the hurt and the
Mm,
pain that you could one day face? Like you can't. So yeah, but I do also see there is such a beautiful redemption story too. So
sure.
those were some of the personal trying times. We can hang there for a second if you want to
Well,
ask
I just
some
listen. I mean, you're such an
questions before we
inspiration.
get to the meat.
You're such a, not to cut you off, but you're such an inspiration um, to so many people, including myself. And I think this story has to be told, because you were in such a dark hour where I'm trying to picture this, right? Like, not only are you sole provider for your family, you've got
Mm,
four small children, and you've got these
yeah,
businesses that
yeah,
are on your back, right? You're carrying this. I mean, it's like a pack mule. It's like, just add something
yeah,
else, and you don't have, like, I'm so
yeah.
blessed to say, and now I'm so blessed to say, that you've got this incredible husband in your life that
Mhm,
is a great leader for you and your children. But you
mhm,
didn't have that for a season, and there were times
yeah,
where, if I didn't have my wife to, help me build and
yeah,
keep me encouraged and, support me, like, I don't know how I could have made it, right? I mean, and
yeah,
being honest with you, in those dark hours,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm just so inspired to really just to figure out, maybe the audience this could really benefit them, but you're going through the darkest time of your life. You're carrying these businesses. I mean, I know how I
Yeah.
like when I walk out of the door and I'm building business. I've got to build some level of confidence within myself, right? Like I can do this.
Mm,
I'm enough to make
yeah.
this thing happen. How dark did it get for you, April? Like the mental battles, the emotional struggles. I mean, the fact that you've got to leave 4 babies to, grab the briefcase
Yeah.
and the computer and
Yeah.
go, I've got to put on a new face now, and I've got to go out there and continue to pay the bills. What? How did you get through that? What was that?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. I
I
wouldn't
know.
wish it upon anybody. Um, I mean, being a Christian and having faith first and foremost, that uh I don't know how people do it without God. Like I
Mm,
literally do not. It's shocking to me that they do. I think they turn to substances and other things. I
yeah.
remember sitting in home, my new home because I left, and asking myself, what do I believe?
Mm,
Very clearly. And I took out my journal and I literally just began writing what I believed. And I believed I am worthy and
mm,
I am loved and I am protected and I am enough. I am healed. I am whole.
mm,
I am capable. And I began these mantras, incantations, confessions, whatever you want to call them, straight from heaven.
mm.
And that's, I would just let those whispers speak over me. And then at night, I would, oh, I wasn't going to cry. I would do them with the kids
Yeah.
because I wasn't going to let them wake up believing anything other than that.
Mm,
And so every night before I put them down, we would do our prayers and we'd sing our songs. And I would say, repeat after me. This is how God sees you. And
mm.
man, it would be like such a peace. There would just be this peace that carried me. And I do it, even in the business. And yeah, it was terrible. I mean, I've told you this before. It was going to be a Dateline special, that's for sure. But I had also made peace with that, and I'm glad I didn't end up being one.
Yeah.
But it was okay. I
Mm,
knew who I was, and I knew whose hands I was in, and I had an incredible support system. Um, yeah, I mean, it was hard because I also saw how much pain my family was in,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Wow. Whew. Girl, you're getting me now. I love to hear this comeback story. It's that was a real fight. That was a real fight.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you for not giving up. I'm so proud of you for speaking life over
100%.
yourself. We're not doing that enough as a community, as a society.
Right.
I hope that there are men, women all over the world that are going to be listening to this, and men included, that just show that that's the power of belief in yourself, right? And the power of your faith and what can come out of that. Something kind of cool that came out of that, though, those affirmations or incantations, what you said is these
Mhm.
positive affirmations actually inspired you to start a clothing company based out of
Yeah.
these affirmations, right? Can you speak to
Yeah.
that a little bit?
Yeah, I wanted to clothe women in that truth, so I went and started a business called Illuminative, and it meant to, project light and to be
Mm,
light, and and I learned the fashion industry, which is hilarious because I was in healthcare IT, and here I would learn the fashion industry, and
yeah.
we had clothes made, sweaters, shirts, leggings, you name it, and I would stamp it with I am statements,
Mm,
and it was neat because that's all I wanted more than anything
yeah,
is to inspire women to like believe in who they were. And it was subtle. It would be like around the cuff or around, the dress. It wasn't, like I should have, done maybe t-shirts. I didn't. It was more the subtleness of it.
sure.
That taught me a lot about that industry. I learned e-com, Shopify. I tried direct sales, and I ended up closing it because it was just a financial black hole. So I think even
It's a
in
tough
those
business.
moments,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, and it's knowing when to hold them and knowing when to fold them. And,
Yeah.
I held on to it a little bit too long, but I also was, caught off by passion, like, where I was so passionate about it that I
Sure.
was just like, "It'll eventually take off,"
Yep.
and I put my hat off of business and kinda put it on the shelf, and I think when you have the perfect blend of business IQ and acumen with passion of what you're doing, that's the great combination.
Wow.
And, I've coached a lot of people where they're just so passionate about what they're doing, but the business blueprint or the financials don't make sense. And so I really learned a lot
Yeah.
in that moment as a businesswoman, as well as being passionate about this new, business. And I let my emotional, we'll call it passion, emotional brain
Hmm.
overtake my business brain. And I think people
Yeah.
need to be very cautious of that in business.
Yeah. Well, I've done that, and I think it's when you've had, when you have a driving force that's kind of naturally built within you and I that goes, never give up, never say quit, never die. Right. You and I are highly emotional individuals. Right. I mean, I would say I kind of activate even on more of a feminine brain a lot of the times with my emotions and my personality. But I'm like you. When I see when that dream comes and I grab a hold of it, nothing's going to
Mhm.
stop me from doing it. Right. And
Mhm.
very much like you, but I think that's another piece that other people have to hear is that as an entrepreneur, you can be really successful in one lane and take that same confidence, apply the same skill set, the energy, the education, the study, and put it in a whole different lane and not be successful, right? That there's a
Mhm.
real thing to that,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
and so
yeah.
and so I like what you said. It's kind of like you ride it till she bucks you, right? But that was that but again, you were doing this based on other money that was coming in, other businesses that you were
Mhm.
profiting from that could kind of
Yeah.
offset some of those things, right?
Yeah.
But thank you for sharing that. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
of
that. So
course.
go ahead, please.
I was just gonna say I was also, if anybody does resonate with that story, it's like they don't know how to get out of their situation. I did wanna say that, getting help for somebody else to hold your hand and walk you out of it
Yes.
is really the only thing that you can do. So for me, I began interviewing attorneys because I didn't know what to do.
Hmm.
And my attorney took my hand and she said, "This is exactly what we're going to do this week."
Hmm.
And she like took my hand and walked me through all of it,
Wow.
and it was just really special because I that is the I it was what got me out, and because when people don't know how to do it, find somebody that can hold your hand during that season,
Absolutely.
that can help walk you through it. And so that was huge for me,
Yeah.
as well, is to, because you don't know how to navigate such trying or challenging times. You just know this isn't normal and I shouldn't be okay with this situation, but help. Like, how do I get out of this? So
So
that
good.
was huge for me. But yeah, we can get to the happy ending.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to that vulnerability piece, right? Where, and I've been in the same position where, sometimes as entrepreneurs, we don't feel like we can ever take the mask off, right? We can't ever just walk into the room and go, "Oh, by the way, I'm not the smartest person here. And by the way, I could really
Mhm.
use your advice or your help right now." And what I have found, April, and I think is what you're saying as well, is that when you really posture yourself with that personality, where you're not in the room, you're peacocking, but you just are honest and vulnerable, there's a lot of good people in the world that really want to help. You know, and
Really.
and not only do they want to help, but they empathize with you and their situation. And so, kind of a little
Mhm.
angel on our shoulders. But before we get to the ultimate positive piece, can we speak to something real quick? And I need your help with this, right? Because this is not the part. I mean, I hear with all the propaganda through social media, through news channels, everything from the Me Too movement to the struggles we really hear about women that are in the high level businesses that you're operating in. Would you speak to that experience? Has it been beyond challenging? Do you feel like there's still you know, um, this, place to where women are still being put down in the workplace and kind of being, uh, you know, I guess, what's the word? I'm like strangled, I guess, like in their position, or have you found that to be different? I'd love to hear more about that from you.
It's a really good question, and I have a really good answer.
All right, let's hear it.
I don't listen to any of it.
Come on,
None of it.
come on,
Never.
that a
I don't
girl.
entertain it. I don't look at it.
I love it.
I don't pay attention to it. Like, why? I don't know. I don't know why anybody gives it energy. It's the weirdest thing to me. Like, I'm April. Nice to meet you. Like,
Yeah,
I, I am me. Like, I don't know. God created me. I don't care if I'm in a room full of women or men or my position or my status or my not. Like, I don't know. I don't it doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's all a bunch of racket, and I think it's a massive distraction.
mm,
I think it's a huge I think if you haven't listened to, Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil,
I love that book.
but it's oh my gosh, it's
It's
like my
incredible,
number
isn't it?
2. Bible
Yep,
and Outwitting the Devil. But
yep.
I'm like, it is such a, like this like, a topic like this, or even all the things, with the propaganda and the nonsense, like, why are you even scrolling? Why are you reading this stuff? Why are you giving it energy? Why are you paying attention to it? Stop drifting. Think for yourself. Be who you are.
Yeah.
Like, so I have zero opinion. I know that there's like a statistic that it's like 0.02% of women like do more than 10 million in business or whatever. Like, there's amazing statistics where it is like, wow, I'm in like a really tiny like statistic or whatever. But at the same time, so what does that do? Like,
Mhm.
what gives me a good ego? Like, I don't know. I'm not the one to ask. I don't entertain any of it.
Well,
It's
I
all
love it.
noise.
Well, I
It's
love it,
racket.
and I'm definitely not the one to ask, nor would I ever be able to speak to that subject. So, you are the you
I
are
think
the
it's racket.
you are the first woman that I've had on the show outside of my wife. So it's important that we also do dive into certain things like that. And I appreciate your comment towards that. And I appreciate your enthusiasm behind just being you, in every situation that you're dealing with, which is so cool.
Exactly.
So let's talk about.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, precisely. I don't know. I really don't have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah. Well, you made a comment about scrolling, right? And I just want to talk about. I've been in my own personal study and thoughts a lot. I've been thinking about a lot of like healthy dopamine hits versus the negative dopamine that we
Oh
all
yeah.
kind of get caught up into, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
scrolling, social media, some kind of habitual habit that pulls us out of kind of holding
Oh
us
yeah.
back from being the highest version of ourselves. I've had personal
Mhm.
struggles with that. Maybe you have, but
Yeah.
if you could speak to the listeners as we're kind of landing the plane here, what would you tell them? Just maybe the 3 or 4 or 5 things that you've stayed constant with that have helped you become the best version that you can be in business and life as a mother, as a wife. Would you speak to those habits or things that you do that bring positive dopamine into your life?
Yeah, yes. I mean, it's funny because I've never looked back on it, Will, to be like, what do I do that makes a difference? But when you ask the question, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what I do.
Good.
Yeah, I've been speaking to it this whole time. So the talk track is a big one. You know what
Okay.
I mean? Like, what is it what, like, our words are so powerful.
Mm,
It defines everything.
yeah.
So I definitely am a big believer in what you speak. I don't like, I try not to complain. And if I'm complaining, let's say it's at work,
Hmm.
and I'm like frustrated and complaining, and I catch myself, I immediately reframe it
Mm,
on, is this a coachable moment for myself? Is it a coachable moment for my team? Is it a coachable moment in my life? So I think
yeah.
number one would be, what do you believe? And catching those thoughts, taking captive every thought. What do I believe in this moment? And when it's negative, how much am I entertaining it? Because if you're entertaining it a lot, it's just going to spiral, So you got to shut it down. I mean,
Mm,
shut it down. I mean, just be done. Two, what is my confession? Like, what is it that I'm genuinely speaking and believing? Because I want to change atmospheres. I want to change the course of my life. I want to leave, legacy to my children's children and
yep.
so on and so forth. I mean, definitely worship, when I just need to uh change like that me.
Yeah.
I will just go into that place of, man, I'm like loving Forrest Frank. He's just happy music. So if I just
Hmm.
need a little dance party,
Yep.
I'll put on some Forrest Frank and just dance, whatever it is to get to that peak state, as Tony Robbins says.
Yeah.
Or if I just need to go in that deep place of worship, I'm like, all right, Brandon Lake, bring it on. Like everyone knows who Brandon Lake is now from Charlie Kirk's memorial. But when
Sure.
he did gratitude at Charlie Kirk's memorial, like
Mhm.
you don't even have, like, forget a politics or Christian or non-Christian on YouTube. If you just YouTube Brandon Lake's Charlie Kirk gratitude, you cannot tell me that a presence of peace
Yeah.
does not exist. And his
Absolutely.
name is Jesus. It is the Prince of Peace. But wow, I mean, just that powerful place. Um, I'm really big on like goal setting and vision boarding. Like if you don't know your destination, on where you're going, then you're in Groundhog Day. You're just having the same day over and over again.
Mm.
It doesn't mean that I have it all figured out. I mean, I literally this morning was talking with my husband, my amazing husband, who we haven't talked about yet, but I
We're
was
going to
talking to
get
my
there.
husband. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling
Mhm.
frustrated at work, and or not even frustrated. It's not even work. It's just, yeah, it's frustrated.
Yeah.
But it's like, because I don't know what to do when I can't solve it. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Where I'm like, I was like, it makes me feel drained. And so it's like that is that moment where you just have to go and sit quietly
Mm.
and whiteboard and think and cast vision and get really crystal clear. So, I mean, I know those are a lot of things. Gratitude is big. I've mentioned that. I mean,
Yeah.
thankful for everything. Dinner last night,
Yep.
Sophie, our little 4-year-old. I don't want chicken and broccoli. It's disgusting. I don't want it. And I'm like, well, there were kids today that went without dinner. So this is what's for dinner. The end.
Yep.
And guess what, Sophie? Let's say, thank you for providing dinner for me. Thank
Mm.
you that I have a meal to eat. Thank you that it's delicious and it's
Yeah.
good for your body and it nourishes. Thank you that we have the money to buy it. Thank you. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah.
And so just thank you for absolutely everything. Fresh air,
Yeah.
electricity, like
Yeah.
roads that aren't full of ice. I mean, it's
Sure.
everything. Thank you for 2 hands that I get to use and type with.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, those are my big things, and I
It's
don't
amazing.
compromise on them.
Well, it's worked. It's worked, and I couldn't agree more. There's something about the power of gratitude that I think revolutionizes your entire atmosphere and
Mm,
where you're positioning yourself with work or business or a problem. So kudos to that. So let's land the plane with this, April, and I do
mhm.
want to talk about Brian. To all the single mothers out there who have had
Yeah,
one of these real struggles that you had to sit under for so many years, that
yeah.
are out there fighting for themselves, their children, they feel alone. Would
Yeah.
you bring some positivity and encouragement to your comeback in your situation and meeting Brian and
Mm,
how not only did God just resurrect all the mess, but just probably took
mhm.
you into another place of your life that you never thought would exist again, right?
Yeah, 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 he's amazing. I went to a I went to a lunch one time, and we're going around introducing ourselves. This was back in Atlanta. We're going around introducing ourselves, and this woman stood up. And she was like, "Hi, I'm so and so, and I hit the lottery of husbands."
Mm,
And she's like, "Now it took me 2 times to hit the jackpot, but I hit the jackpot. Nice to meet you, ladies." And I remember sitting there, Will, and I remember thinking, I would never say that, and that's so interesting.
mm,
I'm like, and it's hilarious, but like, I could never imagine saying that. Well, clearly, the marriage I was in. But
mhm.
I remember thinking to myself, like, that is foreign. It was funny. It was foreign, but it stuck with me. I mean, to this day, I remember it so crystal clear because it was not my situation at all. And I was like, wow, so interesting. So now I hit the lottery of husbands. I
Come
hit
on.
the jackpot and happy to say it. It's just amazing. It's so
Mm,
fun. So um Brian and I actually went to college together, and we had never stayed in touch, like, ever.
Wow.
He took me on a few dates. I was a sophomore, he was a junior, and then summertime came, and he didn't end up coming back. And so we just kind of lost touch. But ironically enough, and he was Abby, who I mentioned in this story, her boyfriend, they were roommates and best friends. And so, like, that's ended up how we met. Anyways, long story short, I moved after my divorce. I moved back to Jupiter, Florida, where a
Yeah.
lot of my college friends were, and I knew I could raise the kids with amazing families and people that would help me
Yeah.
and be there for me. My sister was down there, and anyways, someone reminded me. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I was on a date with somebody and you were babysitting." They're like, "Brian Reed." I was babysitting for his sister, Melissa, and I was like, "Yes." So, long story short, I looked him up on Facebook. We took a fun picture of nostalgia, thinking
Hmm.
nothing of it, and we began talking,
Wow.
and the rest was kind of history. And so he was not married, and neat story for him. He had always told God, I want a marriage that my parents had, my grandparents had, and my other grandparents had. And
Mm.
until I can have what they have, I would rather be single.
Wow.
And he always pictured himself having a big family too. So he came from a family of four, but his family are so close and they grew up together. I mean, there's so many Reeds and there's so many of them, in multipliers. The all of it in Palm Beach County. And I'm like, well, here I am with four kids. But Will, the talk track was, who would ever
Mm.
be not only attracted to me, but I'm like, oh, yay, you like me? That's fantastic. I have four kids.
Say it.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
Yep.
the talk track is like, and the world defines that as baggage, which is insane to me.
Terrible.
Again, wrong belief structure, people,
Yep.
because I had four cherubs that flitter around and are complete blessings,
Yep.
not only to me and Brian, but to this world. So I'm
That's
like, are you
exactly
kidding
right.
me? Like, they like, so again, what is it that we believe? And so here I am showing up on the scene with four little angels and four
Mm.
blessings. And needless to say, we got married. It was like a college reunion, which was so fun. And it was in the middle of COVID, which was even more fun because we had what we called a super spreader, and yet nobody got COVID because I don't believe in any of that nonsense. And it was so good. It was so good. We had 7 countries fly in. I mean, people from all over
Wow.
come. It was a blast. And he adopted, he got the rights, he got the permission to adopt all of them. So
Mm.
all the kids are adopted. He's on their birth certificate. And then we had one little angel together. And so that's where we got the 5.
Amazing.
And yeah, it's neat. And like, and then when you have the right person, like to your point, like you and Alicia are so good for each other. But I think I was telling you this. We did the Enneagram. This is so funny to me.
Hmm.
We did the Enneagram test. I'm a 7 and Brian's a 5. Well, when you're growing as a 7, like when I'm pushing into like my best version of myself, I'm a 5, which actually is my husband. So it's like slow down, create process, look, assess the situation, make a plan, ask the questions. But I'm like, oh, so boring because it just slows me down. Because as a 7, I'm like, let's go. And
Absolutely.
so
Yep.
but as a 5, I'm like, okay, you're right, you're right, you're right. And then there's a stress number. I'm a 1 as a stressor. Well, he's a 5. And when he's growing, he's an 8, which is like that leader role.
Hmm.
And when he's stressed, it's a 7.
Isn't that funny how
So
that
I
works
just
out?
stress him out and he helps me.
Yeah. Listen, we
I'm
we
like, I'm
can
sorry, babe.
we can so relate to that. Alicia is a 7, a wing of 8, and I'm a 2 with a wing of 3, and
Yeah.
it couldn't just be any more opposite, right? But somehow it just
So funny.
it works, and I think that's what it's supposed to be. And man,
Yeah.
go Brian, dude, you're a stud.
He
Uh,
is a stud. He's so
man,
good.
I'll tell you what,
He's so good.
we can all aspire to be
Yeah.
more like Brian for sure. But
Yeah.
good for him, and most importantly, um, good for God. for just
Yes,
for
exactly.
seeing it all, for seeing you through the messy parts, for bringing you back
Mhm.
into the redeeming, recovering parts. I'm so
Yeah,
proud of you, April. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today.
thank you.
April, how do we find you, to the audience, to the listeners, through life coaching, through your podcast? Maybe just could you give us a little piece on that real quick?
Yeah, I mean, probably best way to reach me would be LinkedIn. So you could just look me up, April Reed, Reed. Just find me on LinkedIn. That's probably the best way to connect with me.
Okay,
Yeah, that's ideal. Just shoot me a message, connect, and happy to continue the conversation with anybody. But
good.
thanks for having me. So fun.
This is awesome. This is like sitting with a sister, and
Yeah.
but it means the world that you would join the EnterUp podcast today, and girl, just keep inspiring the world. I mean, that's what this is about, and the hope that you've brought me personally, as well as the audience and the listeners today. Just so thankful for your presence and your story and your testimony. So, I love you. You
Me
take
too.
care,
Love
and
you.
the best is
Thank
yet
you.
to
Go
come.
give
Right?
Alicia a big squeeze.
Thank you for spending time with me today. Remember, it's not about pretending the story is finished. It's about having the courage to keep writing it, even in the middle. If this podcast has encouraged you or inspired you in any ways, please follow us at enterupwithwill.com and across all social media platforms. And please like, subscribe, and share for more. Until next time, keep showing up, keep rising, and keep choosing to enter up.